What is up, everybody? Welcome in. It's been quite some time. Football season is upon us, so I figured I was going to come in here and drop my wide receiver ranking for the 2025 season. But first, let me turn off my fan because I see it going up there. So, all right. Yeah. Welcome in, guys. It's so good to be back. Jamie, what's going on, man? I'm going to be dropping my wide receiver rankings on this video. I'm probably not going super deep today, but I am going to be doing a top 12. So I'm going to be giving you my top wide receiver rankings for the seasons. A lot of things have changed between now and the last time I streamed. I haven't streamed in like 2 months. So, a lot of things have obviously changed. So I'm going to dive in right here and start with the first player on my list. And that's going to be no surprise, obviously, Ja'Marr Chase. I mean, this is a dude who obviously looked very good in his first preseason game. We know based on his track record that he has the highest weekly ceiling in fantasy, probably the highest season-long ceiling in fantasy. He's going to be a guy that just gives you an insane floor-ceiling combination on what could be the highest scoring offense in the NFL. Joe Burrow is obviously projected to be the second highest scoring fantasy quarterback. That's obviously going to bode very well for Ja'Marr Chase. I like him to be the number one receiver again, most likely. Even if he's not, he's probably the safest pick at the number one overall. So next player on my list is going to be Justin Jefferson. So, obviously we have a guy. I cannot type right now. We obviously have a guy right here who is basically quarterback proof. We've seen it over the course of his career. It doesn't really matter. Yes, these are redraft rankings. They're sort of tied to best ball too, but this is the time of year where I'm pretty much primarily going over redraft stuff. So yeah, we're definitely talking about redraft rankings. But Justin Jefferson, pretty much quarterback proof. I don't see any way that Justin Jefferson is going to bust. He dominated with Nick Mullins as his quarterback. We have J.J. McCarthy at quarterback. He dominated with Sam Darnold. This dude is good no matter who slings him the rock. I like the upside. I like the floor. I like the offense. I think the offense is going to outperform expectations, so the touchdown upside should be there. Look for somewhere around 8 or 9 touchdowns for Justin Jefferson with a ceiling of 12 touchdowns. I like the floor. I like the ceiling. Plus the Addison suspension. If you think about it, that's just more targets over the course of those 3 games, which I believe is 3 games, right? The 3 games where Addison is suspended, well, obviously Justin Jefferson is going to get even more targets in those games. Plus, that's more games to build chemistry with him and J.J. McCarthy. So, I don't know. I love J.J. I love J.J. every season. He should be taken as one of the first overall picks in the draft. Next player on my list is going to be CeeDee Lamb. Oh, and just to let you guys know real quick, I am doing a subscriber league this year. We're reactivating it. You don't have to be part of the Patreon to be in it. Let me get the link right here for you guys. I'm going to post it right here. There it is. Yeah, so if you want to join another fantasy league, we got it right here. All you got to do is click on the link and join. I don't know if we're going to do a $50 buy-in yet or a $100 buy-in. It's just going to kind of depend on what people want to do. But we're going to be drafting next Sunday, and I'm kind of getting it together at the last second. Right now, we only have 2 players in the league. It's going to be an 8-man league. I've been debating Lamb versus Jefferson at the 2-3, but they're so close for me. Well, they're both kind of the same player almost. Right? They're similar in talent, right? Their offensive roles are going to be similar. They have a wide receiver 2 on their team who is very good. Obviously CeeDee Lamb has George Pickens. Jefferson has Addison. And they're both going to be absolute target hogs. So I don't know. It's definitely a matter of preference. I think that a lot of people are ranking CeeDee Lamb ahead of Justin Jefferson now because of the fact that he has a more solidified quarterback who we've actually seen play at the NFL level. But, Justin Jefferson's pretty much shown to be quarterback proof. So I don't think it really matters. I'm going to be taking Justin Jefferson, who's, in my opinion, a slightly more talented wide receiver than CeeDee Lamb at the number 2, but it's definitely very close. All right, so the next player on my list is going to be Nico Collins. So, Nico. We've obviously got a guy here who was the wide receiver 1 last year before going down with his injury. I believe it was week 4 that he got hurt last year. The dude was getting close to 10 targets a game. He's got C.J. Stroud slinging him the rock. They added some other offensive weapons to maybe take some of the attention off him, but I still think he's going to be getting close to 10 targets a game. I still think that he's one of the best receivers in the NFL. And you look at this offense and the fact that they bolstered the wide receiver room over the offseason, the overall efficiency of the offense is going to be better. The touchdown upside is going to be there. He has the upside, in my opinion, to be the wide receiver one. I'm taking him ahead of guys like Puka Nacua, Malik Nabers, Brian Thomas, Amon-Ra St. Brown. A lot of guys that are ranked typically before him. I am taking Nico Collins over every single one of those guys. And I think that he has the upside to be the wide receiver one. I really do. If he was a wide receiver one in fantasy this year, wouldn't be surprised whatsoever. I like Nico Collins to pretty much just absolutely explode this year. Next player on my list is going to be Puka Nacua. So, obviously, we've got two very good wide receivers in this offense, right? I mean, I think that people are selling Davante Adams a little short. I think that Davante Adams is going to be just as integral of a part of this offense as Puka. I do project Puka to finish a little bit higher, mainly because of youth. But at the same time, we've got Matthew Stafford slinging him the rock, one of the best arm talent quarterbacks in the NFL, slinging Puka Nacua the rock. He's going to get 10 targets a game. We've seen that throughout the course of his entire NFL career, whether Cooper Kupp was healthy or not. Puka's getting 10 targets a game. We're going to see it this year. Healthy Davante Adams or not, Puka's going to get 10 targets a game. The only thing that we really want to see from Puka Nacua is an increased red zone target share. In fact, if he had an increased red zone target share, he'd probably be higher in my rankings because this dude is an absolute dog. He's got a great quarterback slinging him the rock. And he has the outside shot to lead the NFL in targets. He gets that kind of target share. But if we're going to rank Puka Nacua higher, or if he's going to finish higher than 5th overall, we're going to need to see the red zone target share go up at least a little bit. Next player on my list is going to be Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yeah, so obviously we've got Amon-Ra St. Brown here, and we've got a guy who is just consistently one of the best wide receivers in fantasy. In fact, if you look at the past 4 seasons in fantasy, Amon-Ra St. Brown has finished ahead of Jamar Chase 2 out of the last 4 seasons. So, it's funny the recency bias we see in fantasy, but it's funny too because he finished as the wide receiver 3 last year. It's not like it was bad. I mean, we had Jamar Chase, we had Justin Jefferson, and then we had Amon-Ra St. Brown. But just because of the fact that he fell off a little bit as far as his overall target share and his overall touchdown totals, people are dropping him in their rankings. And also because of, the increased target share for Jameson Williams and everything like that, I still think that Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to get close to 10 targets a game. He's playing in what's almost locked and loaded to be a top 3 overall offense in the NFL. I mean, the Lions are going to be a top 3 overall offense in the NFL. The only offenses that I see being better than the Lions are probably the Bills and maybe the Ravens. But even then, the Lions are the most loaded and complete team in the entire NFL. And Amon-Ra St. Brown is going to absolutely eat. I don't see any reason why we shouldn't be taking him as a top 6 or 7 wide receiver. In fact, I feel kind of guilty having him this low. But there's some really good wide receivers on this list. So next player on my list is going to be Malik Nabers. Now, if you look at the expert consensus rankings on a lot of platforms, Malik Nabers is 4th or 5th overall. I think that's a little bit aggressive considering the fact that we don't know how good this offense is going to be. I mean, look at every other player that I have on this list ranked ahead of Malik Nabers. They're all in what I'm pretty sure is going to be a better overall offense than the Giants, right? So despite the explosive playmaking ability, despite the fact that he's getting a quarterback upgrade, despite the fact that he's going to get an awesome target share, all very good reasons to have him ranked highly. We don't know what the touchdown upside is going to be. And all of the players that I have ahead of him on this list have all of those things as well, the explosive playmaking ability, etc. And there are better offenses that provide them actual touchdown upside. I've been going back and forth on Puka and Nabers as my 5-6 with St. Brown 7th. I think for now I'll put Puka ahead for sure. Thanks. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's definitely close, but, I'm putting Puka ahead as well. And, with you having Puka ahead of St. Brown, I totally agree. I mean, if you look at the target share that he was getting last year when he was actually healthy and on the field, the dude was for sure getting 10 targets a game. He's playing in what should be a good offense. Obviously, the Lions offense is probably going to be better than the Rams offense overall, but good offense, great quarterback. If we see the opportunity share in the red zone go up, Puka could actually be the wide receiver 1. So the dude's got crazy upside. Next player on my list is going to be, now this is my first totally non-consensus ranking that I have here, and that's going to be Marvin Harrison Jr. So obviously this is way higher than anyone's going to have Marvin Harrison. I am predicting a massive bounce back from his slightly disappointing rookie season. I mean, if you look at last year, the dude still had 885 receiving yards, 8 touchdowns. The dude actually kind of went off, and everybody's acting like he was a total bust. Well, yeah, he was a bust according to his ADP, right? Like, because we were aggressively taking him in like the back end of the first round or the very beginning of the second round in underdog drafts last year. Obviously, that's a little bit aggressive. Let me fix my camera here. So, based on his ADP, I guess he was a little bit of a bust, but this dude is an absolute monster. He put on weight over the offseason. They said that they're going to make a point to feed Marvin Harrison Jr. more. In fact, like, if he finished ahead of both Malik Nabers and Brian Thomas, I wouldn't be surprised at all. I mean, he was supposed to do that coming into the league last year, but we do fall into a little bit of the recency bias in fantasy and like to think that the exact same thing is going to happen again. It never happens that way. I have very good reason to believe that Marvin Harrison is going to actually finish ahead of Brian Thomas. I have Malik Nabers slightly ahead of him, as you see on this list, but I like both second-year wide receivers, and I do, very much like you, Jamie, I have Marvin Harrison with a huge breakout. Yeah. Oh, Jamie, I didn't know you had a podcast. That's pretty cool. That's awesome, man. So number 9 on my list is going to be Brian Thomas. So obviously, I talk about this all the time, but I missed out on Brian Thomas last year in underdog drafts. I mean, I did over 200 underdog drafts last year, and I drafted maybe 5 shares of Brian Thomas. Biggest mistake that I made on underdog, hands down, last year was not drafting enough Brian Thomas Jr. This year, I'm going to be making sure to take a little bit more of him, but I also think that he's being slightly overdrafted given his ADP because he's going at like the 112 or the 2.1 on a pretty consistent basis. I think this is a little bit aggressive. I have 5 or 6 running backs that I have ranked ahead of him that I think should be drafted ahead of him. And this isn't because of the lack of talent or anything like that. But Trevor Lawrence hasn't really proved to be an elite NFL quarterback yet. I'm not 100% sold that this connection is going to be great. I think it will be, but there are some there are some question marks, right, when it comes to ranking this dude as like a top 10, 11, 12 overall player. So, I'm going to be ranking Brian Thomas a little bit lower than most. I do think that his ADP overall is a little bit high. I think he should be going more like in the middle of the second round as opposed to the 1-2 turn, but I do like the player. He's easily a top 12 wide receiver on my list this year. Next player on my list is going to be Davante Adams. So, obviously, another aggressive ranking here that is very much against consensus. If you follow my channel throughout the years, you know that I really don't follow the consensus all that much. I mean, there's obvious picks like, Jamar Chase being the number 1 overall player. But after that, it's kind of up to your discretion. I like to kind of think outside the box. I don't see any reason why Davante Adams would finish that much lower than Puka Nacua. I mean, to be honest with you, other than the age, I mean, Davante Adams is still actually a better receiver than Puka Nacua. It's just that Puka Nacua is younger right now. He's already integrated into the offense, everything like that. Adams is one of your most targeted players at his value. Yeah, I mean, and he should be, right? I mean, this is a dude who's a red zone target hog. He's notorious for leading the league in red zone targets. Almost every single year, this dude is a top 7-8 red zone target. And if you look at the fantasy finishes every year, red zone targets are what create elite seasons for wide receivers. This dude gets targeted like crazy within the red zone. Puka Nacua doesn't. This dude has the upside to average 10 targets a game in this offense. He has a great arm talent quarterback slinging him the rock. I don't really see why Davante Adams would finish that much lower than Puka Nacua. I don't. In fact, I feel kind of silly having them 5 spots apart. But, yeah, I mean, I guess this is a slightly aggressive maybe ranking for Davante Adams, but I feel great about it. I think he's going to be a top 12 wide receiver overall. For anybody that's watching, make sure to join the league. We're trying to get the draft going next Sunday. Let me copy the link here. I'm going to paste it right here. If you want to join a league with us, we are going to be drafting next Sunday. I'm getting it together kind of as like a last second thing, but it should fill probably well before next Sunday. Right now it's me and one other guy. We're going to be doing an 8-man league. It's going to be a pretty top-heavy payout. I'm going to pay first place probably 80% of the winnings, and then second place will probably get 20%. But if you want to join another fantasy league, click on the link right there. Join up in the league with us. It's going to be a ton of fun. Next player on my list is going to be Garrett Wilson. So obviously Garrett Wilson has shown, well, he really hasn't shown elite upside in fantasy, but, you know, he's had 1,000 receiving yard seasons each of the past 2-3 seasons. So, you know, this dude typically is going to give you over 1,000 receiving yards. I like him with Justin Fields, actually. I think that he's going to be a target hog. We've seen what Justin Fields can do for a wide receiver one. We saw it in the years with DJ Moore in Chicago. Garrett Wilson could explode for 1,400 or 1,500 yards this year. He seriously has the upside to get 1,400 or 1,500 receiving yards in this offense. I think this offense is going to be better than expectations. This is obviously a slightly aggressive ranking with Garrett Wilson. Expert consensus rankings have him around 15th overall. So having him 11th is kind of high, but I'm very confident in what he can do in this offense. Next and final player on my list is going to be A.J. Brown. So obviously A.J. Brown's target share went down a little bit last year with Saquon. You know, he went from averaging, I think, 9.5 targets a game to averaging 7.5 targets a game. So this is obviously, you know, a slight downgrade in the overall target share for A.J. Brown. But my gosh, they've got to pump the brakes on Saquon a little bit this year, don't they? Right? I mean, they've got to pass the ball a little bit more. Saquon can't touch the ball 10,000 times this year and stay healthy. So you got to figure they're going to dial that back down a little bit. And therefore, they're going to be passing the ball more. Look for A.J. Brown to return to form and get closer to 10 targets a game. I like A.J. Brown to explode and have a massive bounce back season. So yeah, I mean, it's not that I hate Drake London. But like, if you look at his, I mean, it's weird. Okay. So like there's multiple cases that could be made. Last year, you know, he exploded with Michael Penix, right? Yeah. That's what I was going to say is like, he did explode late last season with Michael Penix. It's not that I necessarily hate Drake London. In fact, I'm coming around on him. I was actually lower on him earlier in the offseason than I am now. But upon doing a little bit more research on Drake London, I do like him, but like I just can't have him ahead of anybody on this list. But yeah, and like I was gonna say, like I have some honorable mentions, like Drake London. I do like Tyreek Hill a lot more than consensus, although there are some red flags on Tyreek Hill right now. Obviously, you know, him saying stuff about not knowing the offense and being confused. It's just Tyreek Hill talk. I still think he's gonna crush. I do like Drake London. He's just outside of my top 12. You know, I don't know. There's a few players that I did definitely want to have on this list, but I just didn't quite have room for them. Anyway, guys, those are my top 12. I'm going to be going as deep as probably a top 50 before we get to the start of the season. So these are just my top 12 for now, but that's what we're going to be doing. If you want to join the league, click the link there. Join the fantasy league with us. We're going to be doing an 8-man league. It's going to be fun. Anyways, guys, good to see you, and I'll catch you on the next one.